Thanks for tuning in to another video. So for any of you that have watched my channels, you know that I collect gadgets like the Grinch collects presents on Christmas Eve. I just can't help myself. So these are 3 earbuds that I really liked and wanted to use, and I couldn't decide, so I bought all of them. And if you're in the market for one of these, then I think this video will be helpful. So in this video, I'm going to mostly be focusing on the features and the customizations that you can do with each of these buds and the apps. And I'll give you a lot of other information along the way. So let me know in the comments if this video is helpful at all for you. So what do I have here? So I got the Bose Quiet Comfort Ultra here. I got the JBL Tour Pro 3. And then, of course, we got the Samsung Buds3 Pro right here. Now, these are all been out there for a while, and I had them for a long time, and these are going to be replaced, maybe soon. But sometimes the new variation is not that much different from the older one, and the older one is much cheaper. So this video still might be helpful for you. So, watch it to the end, of course. And again, during this video, I'm mostly going to be focusing on the features and the customizations and the apps and everything that you can do with these things. But I have to talk about the sound a little bit because, that's kind of why you buy these things. So let's start with the Quiet Comfort over here. Now, Bose tunes them slightly more on the warm, low end, and they have a prominent bass, but they're not overly emphasized, so, bass heads might be a little disappointed, but still plenty of bass on these. The mids and highs are crisp and clear. There's very good separation on these, and the highs are not overly bright. The music just sounds nice, full, and rich. It just sounds really good on the Quiet Comfort here. And I think they deliver a little bit of a wider soundstage, maybe, compared to the other two that are here. And these obviously are great for a wide variety of genres. I had no issues with these at all. And that was just kind of a, abbreviated version here. You wouldn't be disappointed with the sound on any of these. I mean, the things I'm talking about, I'm listening and comparing them to the same song and just kind of flipping the buds back and forth between in my ears, just trying to look for subtle differences and changes, but they all sound very good. Now we got the JBL Tour Pro 3. Everyone talks about the screen on this, but these actually still sound very good. And I think they have a little bit of a deeper bass than the Quiet Comfort. And the bass, I thought was a little more pronounced, a little more punchy than the Quiet Comfort, but maybe just a little more muddied, just a little bit. And, JBL has a very neutral sound signature, so basically most people will be very happy with these, the sound that comes out of these. The mids and highs are crisp and detailed. Again, great for basically any music genre that you're listening to. To me, they sounded just a little less warm and full compared to the Quiet Comfort. Overall, a very good clarity on the JBLs, but maybe just a little less refined than the Quiet Comfort. Let's move over to the Pro 3 over here. Samsung, they've been doing this for a long time also. They deliver a rich, warm sound profile. So the bass sounded very punchy, very clear though. And the one thing maybe I've noticed, and I think I've seen other people notice, that the bass and the treble and the vocals maybe stand out just a little bit more than the mids. But again, I'm being really picky and trying to look for differences between these things. But, maybe the cymbals were just a little more bright and a little more emphasized, maybe than the other two. But of course, you could adjust that. So we'll get into that in a little bit. And I thought the Samsung sounded the least offensive of the 3. And basically what that means is nothing really, stood out. It was just kind of everything sounded like it was supposed to, and it sounded good. And there was nothing for you to like or not like on it. It was just kind of a neutral thing. So, but again, there is some customizations we can do on this. But right out of the box, they, again, sounded very good. Now, if you're looking for the most bass on these, I would have to rank them with the Quiet Comfort first, then the JBL, and then the Samsung. They just happen to be in that order. I didn't plan that, really. But, of course, the sound signature can be changed quite a bit if you have good customizations of your equalizers and the good options that you have. So I'm going to get into the features of that in a moment. Just to let you know, they all have their branded spatial audio and head tracking, which makes the sound kind of sound like it's coming from in front of you, if you like it like that. And basically what it does is just, if you turn your head to the left, then the right bud gets a little louder, and, vice versa. So it basically makes it sound like the stage is in front of you. You might like that maybe for movies or something like that, but I didn't particularly care for it. And now, Bose calls this the immersive audio. JBL calls it spatial 360. And Samsung calls it the 360 audio. And of these 3, for this particular feature, I think JBL does that, makes the most difference on them, and I think they sound the best. It's a subtle difference, and you do lose a little more battery life on that. So it's something to think about, but it's not anything that you would pick one bud over the other. Okay, so now enough of that, my opinion of stuff, what the hell is that worth? But let me show you a couple of things. So I got the 3 apps right here. And there is a big difference of what you can do with these things and what the customization is. And that might make or break your decision. So let me just show you a couple of things. Let's start with Bose because, that was on the left. Now, one thing to note is that the Bose I had the biggest connection issues with. So sometimes it wouldn't connect and it wouldn't recognize that I had the buds open here. And the other thing that happens is they would actually connect and I'd be listening to music through the buds, but then it wouldn't even recognize that I had it open. So, that is an issue that happened a lot actually, where I couldn't get the app to open, but I'm listening to the music. So it is paired to my phone, it's working, but I couldn't access the app, so I couldn't make any adjustments to the features and stuff that I wanted to do. So that was kind of frustrating. And let's see if it works now. Now, I put the buds in my ears, and it did say I'm connected to my phone here. But see, I'm having issues connecting it, so I can't even show you what's in the app. Okay, so I finally got it to connect here. Again, this is the one that had the most issues, but let me put this on here. Now, also just to tell you that the JBL and the Samsung, paired or reconnected immediately. Before I even got the second bud in my ear, it was already paired and working. The Bose here, it's a little touch and go to get it to fully work. So I'm going to go into the apps in a little more detail in just a little bit, but first we're going to do this kind of piece by piece. So let's go into here, we got the EQ. Now the Bose has the most basic app of the three, so this is going to be the easiest to go through, but here's the EQs. And this is the disadvantage. You got 3 bands, that's it. Nothing else that you could adjust. And you got 4 presets here. Now the other thing is, I can't save anything. So if I go ahead and, make my own, but I can't name it and, have it as a preset right here. And also I can't save more than one, obviously, because if I go to bass boost, there it is. Now, where's mine that I just had, right? I got to kind of readjust it to get it back to where I had it. So that is a definitely weak point of the Bose, which I don't know why they're so limited on what you can do here. The same thing on their other products. It's just the app is very straightforward, which may be good, but very simplistic and very little customization that you could do here. Also in Bose, you have the immersive audio here. And so these are the options. You can have it off, obviously. You can have it still, where, again, the sound stage is in front of you, basically like you're at a concert, and it gives you that impression. So if you turn your head to the left, again, the right earbud gets a little louder and vice versa. It's a nice little effect. It's cool initially, but I don't know if you want to do it forever. And then you have the motion here, so it just makes the sound like coming from all around you, so like you're in a good big open sound stage. And it worked a little bit, but not all that much. And you do take a battery hit on this. I'll get to that in a little bit. Okay, let's get into the JBL and see what that can do. And you could also see if you can figure out which is my favorite out of these, right? While I'm going through the video. Now the JBL is also connected right now, but it's not letting me get into the app just yet. It usually takes a second to get into the app, but the connection is immediate. Okay, so the JBL actually has a lot of stuff you can do. So I do like that. There's a lot of things that you can go through here. There's 3 different sections. There's a lot of stuff happening. But right now, we're just going to focus on the EQs. So if we go into here, these are my options. Now, let me scroll here. These are the preset EQs that are there. So I got 6, which was 2 more than the Bose had. So there we go there, and you could change these, you can see what happens. But then also, I have all these that I made. And these are my custom ones that I just wanted to see how many I can do. And then you could do this, and these are just test ones. But, I just did whatever I want, and it's got them all saved. Now, for some reason, I couldn't change the name of these. I was only able to change the name of the first one, and then I couldn't edit these anymore. So that is a little bit of a glitch, because now I'm EQ3, right? So let's see if I could do here. You would think if I just went right here, I would be able to change this. But, I can't. See, it doesn't change anything. So that is one little nitpicky thing. It just calls it, my EQ3, my EQ4. So the naming of these doesn't work that well, but still I get all these EQs and it will save them. So that's great. But then also look, let me add one here. Now I got 10 bands for the EQs, and it just automatically calls it my EQ6. And again, I can't adjust that, but that's fine. I could kind of remember what they are. But look at what we got here. I got all these adjustments I could make. So the Bose had 3. So look at all the bands you have here. Sorry about the reflection there. I just noticed I usually don't do these videos during the day. Anyway, sorry about that. So here's the bands over here. And you get 10 bands on here, which is really nice. And then, of course, you could save it and do whatever you want. Now, so the EQs are the EQ settings on the JBL is much more robust. So let's click on here. And then the other thing is you have an adaptive EQ here. So I'll just click on it and show you. So you got the low volume. So this boosts the highs and lows when you are listening to the volume at low, because that is what happens when you lower it. You lose a little bit on the both ends. And then you got the leakage compensation that you can put on there. Just 2 things that, again, a lot of other buds don't have. Then of course they have their spatial sound over here. Again, we have it off, we have it fixed, and then we got the head tracking. This one did make a little difference with it, and it just sounded a little fuller and just a bigger sound stage on these. And if you click more settings, it just gives you an option to listen to a demo track of it. But again, that sounded actually pretty good. Then we got here personify, maybe? Let's call it that. We'll customize the EQ based on your hearing and your perception of the sound, which I didn't set up, sorry, but I just thought they sounded very good to start with. But you can do that if you want. Then you could also do the left and right balance you could adjust. So if you do have hearing loss in one ear, you could adjust it just a little bit. And then of course we have the max volume limiter. Okay, so that was a lot of time I spent on JBL, but that's only because there's a lot more stuff you could do with them. Let's get into the Samsung app here. The Samsung app is the Wear app. We click on here, we're connected. It's just there, and I'll show you what the buds look like and the features on those in just a little bit. Okay, so this is the Samsung app. This is the Gear app, and again, this is for all your Samsung products, your watches and buds and everything like that. I'm going to go into the apps in more detail in just a little bit, but right now let me just focus on the EQ settings that you could adjust. So we're going to scroll right here. Sound quality, pretty easy to do, right? And we got the Equalizer. Let's click on that. And again, you get 9 bands here. And this is what you have. You have 6 presets right there. And now you customize it just by doing whatever you want, and then this saves it. But it's really just saving it as that it's there. I can't name this or do anything like that. So if I go back to clear and then I go to custom, it'll be what I had in there. So it does save it, but I can only save one custom feature in there. And you might want to have more than one custom EQ if you're listening to different things, but on this one you only get a choice of one of them. Now, of course, we have the 360 audio. Everybody has one of those. And then you could do, you turn it on, and then you could have the head tracking on and off. Again, that's just personal preference if you like that. I think it's just a little gimmicky, but you might like them. I don't know. But for me, it was just a little gimmicky, so I used them in the beginning, and then I just turned them off. Now, you do get a little extra features on this. You do get the loudness normalization, which is kind of nice. And then, of course, we got the adjust sound to fit. You could turn that on. I don't know if I really noticed that much of a difference, but, it's there. And, of course, if you listen to a movie or something like that, you could boost the dialogue so you could hear it just a little easier. So, again, a nice little feature that Samsung added. So, now another big feature and something that most people are probably interested in is the active noise cancellation, how good it is. Bose is renowned for its superior active noise cancellation, but this is actually next level. It is just surreal how good it is. Just to give you an example, I put these on, you're outside, you're looking at the wind blow the tree, the leaves in the trees, and you feel the wind on you and you see the kind of wind blowing other things, but you don't hear any bit of it. It is just amazing how good the noise cancellation is on this. I mean, sudden noises and things like that you're going to hear come through, but by and large, and it might have been the fit a little bit, but I think just the noise cancellation on the Bose was supreme. So if you want the best active noise cancellation, you're buying these just for your commute on the train or the subway or something like that, and you want to block out the world, you go with the Quiet Comfort. You could show up the video, just buy them, and you're done. Well, no, I'm just kidding. There's actually a lot of pros and cons that I have yet to get to, so you got to watch the whole video before you make a good decision. But seriously, the noise cancellation is very good on these. Now the JBL, the noise cancellation also is very good. It's also very adjustable, which is nice, and so you can pick what you want. The Quiet Comfort, again, there's going to be a common theme here. You can't adjust it that much, the noise cancellation, how much of it that you want. On the JBL, it is very good, and you could adjust it, which is nice. And then you got the Samsung here. Again, this was very effective at blocking out like the ambient noise, the commutes and engine noise and things like that. All these were very good, but if you wanted an order of which was the best, the Quiet Comfort was definitely the best. Then it was a little bit past that was the JBL, and then the Samsung was behind that. I didn't have it in any particular order on laying them out on the table here, but that just is the way it is. Again, this video is focusing on the customizations and the features of each of these and what you could actually do. So let's get back into the app and let's go over a couple of things. Okay, so we're back in the Bose app, and here we go. To do anything with the noise cancellation, this is basically what you can do. You got to get it into modes, and then these are the modes that you have here. And then if you click on one, so like quiet, let me click on this. And so this is what the settings are. And if you see here, the noise cancellation is locked because I can't adjust that at all. I can't decrease it at all. And it's quiet mode, so I get it. But I would like to be able to adjust that. Maybe I don't want the active noise cancellation all the way up, But let's go into the other one. So aware. Same thing, the noise cancellation is locked. I can't do anything with it. But I could do active sense. So the noise cancellation will automatically adjust for me if I wanted to. But again, I can't control it. And then let's go into immersion. Same thing, the noise cancellation is locked. And there is no adjustment on here, so this is at 100%. And then music. Now the noise cancellation on this one, I could actually adjust to what I want. So that's nice. I'll get into it in just a little bit, but there is no ambient noise adjustment on this as well. And there's no conversation mode on this. So a lot of times when you have the earbuds, if you listen to music and then you start talking as if you're talking to somebody, and hopefully not to yourself, but if you're talking to someone, then the noise will automatically go way down, and then you could talk to someone. And if you're continuing to talk, then the music will stay very low, so you could actually have a conversation. And then also it will automatically, with conversation mode on most of the buds, it will automatically turn on ambient mode, so you could actually hear what they're saying, and it will reduce the active noise cancellation. The Bose Quiet Comfort doesn't have that feature, which is kind of amazing that it's not included in there. Now, I could also add a mode. So if I go onto here, now there's things that I could do, and I could add something to here, but there's really not that much. I could adjust the noise cancellation, and I could maybe set these things, but that's really all there is. There's really not that much difference between the different modes. And you have to change them on the app. Well, you don't have to change them on the app here. You could change them on the Bud, but you actually have to set it that way, and then you have to cycle through all of these modes to get to the one that you want. So even if you did have it in music here, and I set my noise cancellation to lower, for me to go back, to go from quiet to music, I have to go through all of these different modes, which takes a little while to go through. It's not like you just turn the ANC on and off, or ambient mode on and off like you can on a lot of different buds. You can't on this. So that, again, that's just a little limited. So let's go into the JBL app and talk about what we can do for the active noise cancellation adjustments. As you can expect, there are more adjustments that you can make on the JBL. So if you scroll up here, this is where you have it. So I have it on talk through now. I got ambient wear, or I have active noise cancellation. I only have one bud in, so let me put the other bud in. Now it should give me the option for the active noise cancellation, and then you can customize it. So you click on this, and again, you could kind of just do whatever level that you want, which is really nice, because sometimes you don't want it fully blocked out. Maybe if you're riding your bike or you're jogging or something like that, you want to be able to hear the cars and stuff that's going on. So that's a nice option there. And then also, of course, you do have the adaptive active noise cancellation, which is really nice. So the ANC adjusts based on the noise surrounding you. And then you have the auto compensation. Now, the other thing I like about the JBL is that there's so many features that it has, but then also anytime you have something, what the heck is this, right? There's a little eye here, a little information tab. You just tap it, and it'll tell you what it is. So it adjusts the ANC based on how the buds are fitting, basically. But if you didn't know what that was, or you forgot, you just click this, and now you know what it is, right? So that's kind of cool. Now, the other thing that you could do is, if you remember, the Bose Quiet Comfort didn't have any conversation mode. You do on the JBL. So let me just show you that. It's called Smart Talk. And if you just click on here, it would automatically lower the volume when it detects that you're speaking. And it activates talk through. And it will resume the music once you're quiet for a few seconds. So you just hit got it. I don't think I've seen this on any other earbud, but is that you can adjust how long you want that conversation mode to last. 5 seconds, 15, or 20. So that's just kind of a cool feature that you could adjust that. Okay, so we're in the Samsung app here. And just to show you the battery life in here, it does give you the buds, the left and the right. If they are different than more than like 15% or something like that, then they'll show them separate. Otherwise, they just kind of put them together. But right now, we're talking about the active noise cancellation. So let me just scroll to here. And this is very easy to adjust. So if I have it in ambient mode, and I can adjust the amount of ambient mode, so the amount of the noise that you want to hear coming from the outside. And then if you want to do active noise cancellation, I got to put both earbuds in. Okay, so now this, and then I can adjust it to whatever I want, which is really cool. Well, so what's happening is every time I talk, it's going into ambient sound automatically, okay? But if the active noise cancellation, you have it here, you could adjust it to whatever you want. And then you could also do the adaptive, where the buds basically decide on how much you need of either, which is kind of cool. And then if you want to disable the auto switch into conversation mode, because some people don't like that. Mostly if you get a lot of false positive that it thinks you're talking, but you're really not. You're just humming or stretching or yawning or something like that. So if you want, you just click on this. And now you can have it where the Samsung does have an extra feature that it will, if it hears a siren, that it will automatically turn into ambient mode, which is a nice feature. But you could toggle that on and off if for some reason it's not working for you. But then the voice detect, you can turn that off. And now when I'm talking, it doesn't go into conversation mode automatically. Or it doesn't go into ambient sound automatically. So now we could have an active noise cancellation. I can go all the way up. You can hear I'm still talking, but it's not automatically switching to ambient sound, which is cool. But that's a very easy thing to adjust, right? Okay, so now probably the third most important thing for most people is how is the call quality on each of these. So on the Bose here, the call quality is the worst of the three, honestly. I heard the person very well, but they did not hear me very well. So the mics are not very good at all on the Bose. Even in quiet environments, it just didn't come in very well, the other people would say. And if it was any kind of windy environment, any kind of noisy environment, for some reason it just sounded terrible to the other person. Okay, now I'm in the Bose app here again, and I'm going to just show you what there is for call quality customizations and what you could do with that. Basically nothing. But if we go into settings, there's a little bit that you could adjust here. The Bluetooth connections is just the multipoint. So that's new. When they first came out, they didn't have that. So that's a new thing that they did add with the software update that everyone was complaining, well, how do you have buds that are $300 that they don't have multipoint connection on them? But anyway, let's keep going. So we got this stuff here. This is really all there is on the call quality. If you click on this, you could adjust how much of your voice that you could hear on this. But, there's not all that much to do with that. But that's all you can adjust on the call quality on the Bose app. On the JBL, the call quality was actually much better. My voice was isolated much better, the background noise was minimized much better, and the person on the other end said I sounded much better. There's a little customization that you could do in the app, so let me just show you that. So I showed you what you could do on the Quiet Comfort. There wasn't too much that you could adjust, basically just the amount of noise that you're able to hear your own voice. This is in audio, so we got to go into here, and then I got to scroll all the way down to the bottom here. Again, there's a lot of stuff that you can do here, but voice aware. So this one, if you just click on the little info card that they leave for us, so it controls how much of your own voice that you could hear during the calls. And of course, the ANC is turned off. So the voice aware, again, you could just, a sliding bar, you can move it up and down if you want, or you could toggle this off if you don't want, to hear your own voice. And then, of course, you have the voice setting here. I'll just click on that. Just how the other person perceives your voice, or how your voice sounds on the other end. I don't know if I noticed all that much of a difference with it, but, you got natural, powerful, and bright, and then you just go back, to whatever you want. So that's something that's maybe useful, I don't know. But the other cool thing about the JBLs is that you could just take one bud out of your ear, and you could put this up to your mouth to make private conversation, basically. So you could put this right in front of your mouth, so you could whisper or say very softly, but then the other person will be able to hear you. And once you enable this, you don't need to do anything else. You got both buds in your ear, you take one out, and you just start talking into it, which is kind of cool. And it is either bud you could take out. So if your left ear hears a little better, you could take out the right one, or vice versa. So that's just kind of a neat feature that is available on your JBL that's not available on some other ones. A lot of other ones, honestly. And I'll just click on the info card here. So there you go. So you basically just more of a private conversation, so people can't be listening in to you as much. You don't have to talk as loud. So real cool to have that feature. And the Samsung, the call quality is actually very good. Every once in a while, the ambient noise was just a little digital, sounded a little artificial, but other than that, it was no issues. And I just showed you on the app that it's very easy to adjust the settings on that. And you could also toggle the conversation mode on and off if you wanted to, very easily. So the app on the Samsung is very easy to work through. So these are the buds here. And for the touch control, the amount of options you have on the Bose is actually awesome, because you got the volume to go up and down. It's a slider, which is really nice. And again, that's kind of a unique thing. Not too many buds have that, so it's awesome that you have it. And then also you can have this with just one bud in. You can control the volume up and down. And then, of course, this whole thing is a touch surface. And you could single tap, press and hold, double tap, triple tap. Everything works perfectly on this, very easy. And this is super sturdy in the ear. So if you're touching the bud here and doing any touch controls, it does not knock it out of place at all. This is super steady in the ear. So the touch controls on the bud are awesome on the Quiet Comfort. What you can do in the app is just a little more reduced. So let me just show you that. Okay, so here I am in the Bose app again. Let's go down here. Here it is. And this is all that you could adjust. You could turn it on and off, obviously, if you want. And this is if you touch and hold the left earbud right here. These are the options that you have. Okay? And that's it, basically. And then if you go to the right one, again, you could turn it on and off if you want, but you have the same exact options. So that's only for the press and hold that you could modify. What about the other controls? Well, they are set by default, and there's nothing you could do to adjust it except the press and hold feature that I just showed you. So let's go into tips here, and it's media control. So play and pause. So you just tap it, or take the bud out. So it does have in-ear detection. But play and pause is one tap. If you want to move the media, we got to double tap to skip and triple tap to go back. And that's on both of them. So again, there's no adjustment on this that you can do. And then to change the volume, again, you got that swipe. So it's cool that you have that swipe, but you can't do anything else here. And then for phone calls, same thing. To answer a bud, you just tap it and then double tap to end it. Now, of course, we got the touch controls here, and it would be nice if this was a little slider like on the Bose where you can adjust the volume up and down, but you can't. It's just the taps, but it's very sensitive and no issues with false taps or anything like that. And when I tapped it, it didn't dislodge my bud. The bud stayed in my ear very well, so I had no issues with that. And again, nice big surface here for you to tap. It's kind of like the whole part here. So that works out very well. And there's some customization on the touch controls, but this is actually the least amount of customization that you have on the JBL app. So let me show you that. Okay, so I'm in the JBL app here again, and let's go ahead and just scroll down. And gestures. So here we are. Let's click on that. And now this is the left, and this is what you can do here. Now, they kind of group this a little bit. So let me just do this. You see the little volume control under here. So that's basically what you have on the left now. Tap it, the volume goes up. Double tap, the volume goes down. And tap and hold, you activate the voice assistant. So that is what is clustered here on the volume control. And if you click this, these are the options. They're all kind of grouped together that you can't adjust this at all. So ambient sound, then you can see what the taps do. And if you do playback control, then we got the tap, the play and pause and stuff like that. But I can't have a single tap do the play and pause and then the double tap do voice. It's isolated here, and it's almost like modes are set up for you. So the playback control, that's all on the left hand side, on the left bud. Then if you go here, you can just shut it off if you want. But let me just show you also the right. Well, this is the. Let me get into the call control here. Pretty easy. What you're doing here: double tap to hang up and answer, and tap and hold to reject a call. So that's straightforward, and there's no options to change that at all. Now, if we go into the right, you can see the call control, same thing, and there's no way to adjust that or do anything. So both buds will work the same for incoming calls. But we have the same thing here. We got playback control and the same exact options. And if I click on this and we go into volume control, this is what was on initially. You can see here it says volume control, and those are my options. So I could do the same thing on both buds if I wanted to, or the right would be my playback and then the left would be my volume controls, but I can't interchange them. I wish there was just a little more customization on the individual taps that you can do here, but having grouped together like that does simplify it a little bit. Again, this is like the least customizable thing of the app, which is, kind of surprising. Let me show you the controls on the Buds 3 Pro. And here we go right here. You got this little basically pinch. So you got the little stalk here, you just pinch it to activate something. And then also you do have this slide up and down where it controls the volume, and that actually worked well. The only thing I didn't like about the Samsung here is that I've had, I don't know how many, 6 or 7 Samsung Buds, and they all fit in my ear very well. This one did not, actually. I changed all the buds back and forth and all the different sizes, and it just didn't fit well consistently on either ear, actually. And so anytime I went to pinch, it actually dislodged it a little bit. So I didn't like the touch controls on this at all, basically. Even though it is good in theory, it just didn't work out for me. But let me show you what you could adjust on these. So again, we're in the Samsung app, and we got to go to earbud controls. Now on these, there's actually a lot of options, just like the Bose. There was a lot of different things that you could do, but these are not very adjustable because this is what you got. You got the media controls. You can turn them on and off if you want, but basically you do the pinch to do the play and pause, and this is on either one of them. The double pinch and the triple pinch, and then the swipe up and down for the volume. So that actually works really well, in theory, if it stayed in your ear very well, but there's no adjustments that you could do on this. And then, of course, you've got the pinch and hold options. It does give you a fair amount of adjustments there that you could do, and you can turn it off if you don't want to do that. The good thing is that you could toggle through active noise cancellation and the ambient noise real easily. And then the right side, same exact options. And you could have this activated just on one earbud if you wanted to, or you could have it on both. That's cool that you could at least adjust that. And now for the answering of calls, basically you could either toggle it on or off. But it's pinch to answer it and pinch to end it. And then to decline it, pinch and hold. And again, you could turn that on and off if you want to. This also does give you the option here for the lights that are on here. Since we're here, let me just show you this. If you pinch and hold them, then you get these light options that are there. And you can have them stay on if you want, or you could have them blink or fade in and out. And that's with them on. Again, you just push it and hold it until they turn on. And then if you want to, here, let me do it here. So now they're blinking, right? And then you could do the fade in and out. And this isn't really nice if you're out running, after sunset or early in the morning or something like that. It just gives you one extra thing that maybe someone might see on you and give you maybe a little more safety on it. And then if you just push and hold, they'll go off. So that's kind of a cool feature that Samsung came up with. And then the other cool thing about the Samsung that I wanted to show you is that you have the voice controls. And that is actually really neat. And it gives you a lot more options, basically. So let me do this. Okay, so let me go into earbud settings now. The voice controls are kind of neat. And now these are the commands that you can use. Now you can toggle it on and off. Basically, if it's not working for you, you could just turn it off. But these are what you can do here. And these actually work, 95% of the time. The only time it doesn't work is if I'm saying the wrong command. But if you say what is here, these little commands that are listed there, it works perfectly. Even if there's a lot of ambient noise, it's still registered very well for me. So, and I have a little bit of an accent or so, but it worked perfectly for me. So that's a very cool thing. I almost never use the touch features on the buds, as I said, because I just don't like them at all because they always knock the bud out of my ear. But the voice commands are awesome on this. So that's something that you could do. And then, of course, you could use the Bixby if you want to do that. Okay, so let me just show you a little more detail about these buds here. You can see the different sizes between them. The Buds 3 here is definitely the smallest. But if you do, let's look at the Quiet Comfort here. These things fit the best on me, and these were the most sturdy fit of any of them. You got the oval tip here, which you may or may not like, and then also you have the wings, which are, you do get adjustments on this and on the tips here that you can adjust. And by default, the ones that are on there just fit me perfectly, and this locks in the ear. I almost have to pull it out to get it out. I have no issues with tapping this and adjusting it. Doesn't move it at all. So the Bose Quiet Comfort Ultra here fit me the best. And they probably have the best chance to fit you the best because of the extra wing adjustment here. So this is the JBL here. And you can see this one is actually a little bigger, than I kind of expected. And I was a little concerned that this may not fit so well or stay in the ear so well. That was, I guess, my biggest concern. But you can see here that it's got an oval ring here. And this surprisingly fit perfectly for me. Stays in the ear perfect. I could do the taps and all that stuff. No movement at all with it. And these are very comfortable to wear. Okay, now we got the Buds 3 Pro here. Again, it's still an oval design here. And these all have silicone tips, except the JBL does give you the option of the memory foam. And the JBL also does give you 4 different sizes on this, which is kind of impressive. These on the Samsung, you just get 3 different sizes. And these are definitely the smallest. And, this little different design that they have over the Buds 2, you either like it or you don't like it. You do have the little L there to make it a bit easier. And then also you do have it color-coded just a bit here. So you got the little blue there to tell you that this is the left side. And then if you go on the case, you got the blue there. But putting these in at night, even though you still got the stem and, you kind of know where it's supposed to go, this is actually very hard to put away at night. I had kind of big difficulties with this. Okay, so as you've seen during the whole video here, there's different sizes of the cases. You can see how they look. And then if we flip them up here, you could, let me do it this way. Maybe you could see them a bit easier. And you can see the Samsung is definitely the smallest. The JBL is the thickest for sure. And the Quiet Comfort is the tallest of them. But the Quiet Comfort here does not have wireless charging. So with this big case, you don't get wireless charging. You got to plug it in to USB-C. These two do give you wireless charging. To get wireless charging on this one, you actually have to buy a sleeve that goes on this, and then you can get wireless charging. But that's under $50 after you already spent $300 on this, which is kind of ridiculous. So Bose couldn't fix that with a software update like they did with the multipoint connection. Now the magnets on all these are very good on the case and the buds on the inside. Quiet Comfort is just a little bit better than these two though, but none of them fell out with any issue. And even if you open them up, these things are not going to fall out unless you really, you really need to work to get these things out if you wanted to. I'm shaking these pretty hard. Nothing's coming out. But the Bose is just maybe a little bit of stronger magnets and stays closed just a little bit better. Now we're going to be talking about the JBL case a little bit more because this thing does a lot of stuff compared to these two. So let's get this one involved here. And obviously you got to turn it on, and there's different ways that you can turn this on and off if you wanted to. And I'll show you that in a minute. But then you swipe to unlock it. And then you can just swipe through these things. And there are a lot of features on here that you can do. Basically, most things on the app that you could do on this case. You know, you could do your voice aware, you could adjust that. You could adjust the ANC on here. You could see your notifications, find my buds if you wanted to. You could, here's the ANC and the ambient sound you could adjust. You could adjust the equalizers, you know, on the go. You could adjust the volume. You could change tracks if you want to. Then also you got the battery settings right on the initial screen. Before you even unlock it, you could just see what's going on, which is really nice. I like that on the other buds. On the other cases, the lights will show you the relative battery power, but this one gives the exact battery power, which I do like. Okay, so I'm in the JBL app again, and let me show you everything that this case can do. It's amazing, actually. So we scroll down here. It has its own little function area. We click on this, and you can change the brightness, obviously. You can change the wallpaper, and you can actually put a custom wallpaper on there, which is just kind of cool. And then you could also have it how long you want it to stay on, right? So that's kind of cool. Everything's adjustable on this. Really, they thought of everything. Now we got the message notification and the preview. You could turn this on and off if you want. If for some reason, if you don't want your notifications being seen by other people, you might want to toggle those off, but if it's okay, you could have them on. So the quick wake up, I have this not enabled right now. So when I tap the screen, nothing happens. I know that was maybe a complaint about the screen, that if you put it in your pocket and it just keeps getting tapped and turned on, then maybe your case could lose some power. But again, you could toggle that off very easily. So then nothing will wake it unless you open the case. That will wake it. But then this little button down here is what turns it on and off. So if I just push that button, I'll get the case to turn on and off, which is really cool. And this is recessed, so you're not going to push that unless you purposely want to push it. Now, the quick wake up, if you want that turned on, you just toggle this on. And now I got single tap, double, or triple taps. And if it's going off too much or something like that, you could do the triple tap. If you want it just easy access, just do single tap. And now when you tap it, it turns on. And then you still got to unlock it, but it will, you know, the screen will be on for you. And there you go. Now let me just show you some of the features that are available on this thing. So these are everything that's on there. Now some of these you can't turn off, right? But ear tap, sound settings, I could turn that off if I want. And then I could just move these up and down if I want to wherever I want. So this is very customizable. And like, again, you can see everything that's on here. You even get a timer. You do get a flashlight and stuff like that, which, you know, you may or may not use, but at least it's there. And then also you could find my buds from the case, which is really cool. And I like this screen because honestly, I almost never use the phone app. I'm usually just using the buds, or unless I'm going to change the settings or something like that. But when I'm using the buds, I almost never use the actual app. So this thing makes it very easy to make some adjustments on the fly without even going into the app. Then also, it's a nice thing if I'm going for a bike ride or something like that. My phone is usually put away a little more securely. But this, I could have in my front pocket or something like that, and I could just make some adjustments quick. And obviously, you don't want to drop this and break it, but you'd rather drop this instead of your phone. So that's usually how I have it set up. Okay, so let's get out of that. Now, you could do the time on here. You could do 24-hour time with a regular time. Now, the other cool thing is the Auracast. I have the 3.5 millimeter jack to the USB-C, and then the USB-C to USB-C, and those are for plugging into this down here and turning this into a transmitter. Now, they do have devices like this. I have them, just a little device that will actually turn into a transmitter. You just plug this into, say you're on an airplane, you can plug this into the audio jack, and then this will broadcast it to your buds. But I don't need this anymore. I just use this thing. So this is also great if you go into the gym and you're on the Stairmaster or doing the elliptical or something like that. You could plug the jack into this thing, and then this will broadcast the sound of the TVs into your wireless buds. Otherwise, you'd have to use a wired headphone to access the TV channels or whatever you're watching. And then the Auracast, you could turn this into a transmitter, and then anyone who has Auracast on their phone could tap into the thing that you're broadcasting, which is, again, really cool. And we go into the settings here, and we could actually put a password on here. So if you're transmitting your sound from your phone or your TV receiver or anything like that, you could actually decide who gets to listen to it or not. Again, this is an extra feature that there are a couple other ones that do have this feature, but this is a very rare feature and very cool because this is a $300 earbuds. This is $300 earbuds. This one, I think, was like $250 or something like that. So the prices are all kind of similar, but you're getting a lot more features on the JBL here. So the case on the Samsung, nothing bad about it. Just kind of plain. A little smaller than the other ones, which is nice. It kind of looks cool with the glass top. when you open it up, you get the little blade lights on there just to kind of let you know where they are, I guess. And again, it's a little hard to put this away at night just because the way this little the edge goes in, it just doesn't fit that well. Believe me, it's a little tough to get in at night. But otherwise, everything else works perfectly on it. Now, I showed you how the battery percentages are shown on the app, but if you just want to get an idea of what the power is on the case, you got the little LED light here. So solid white means it's charged from 34 to 99%. Amber means it's low charge, it's 10 to 33%. And then if it's blinking amber, or the amber blinks twice, that means it needs to be charged because it's less than 10%. So you get a general idea on this. On the JBL, I'm going to show you. So even unlocking this, you can see the percentages of each bud and also the case. Now on the Buds 3 Pro here, you got the red, yellow, and green case lights. Red means there's less than 30% of battery left. Yellow is 30 to 60, and then green is more than 60. So again, you get a general idea of the power if you can remember, the percentages and remember what the lights are. Okay, so believe it or not, I basically covered all of the Bose app, just going through the couple of different sections that I went over already, whereas the other apps, there's still more to do. On the Bose app, I went through basically everything because there's not much that you can do. We got the modes that I already showed you. The immersive audio, you could toggle that on and off. We got the shortcut, which is just the press and hold, and these are the things that you can do. Source, this is just for the multi-point connection. Then you got your EQs, which are very basic on this. And then the tips. The tips are actually pretty good. It does go over everything that is here. So if you don't want to listen to me for the whole thing, you could just go through here and it goes through all the things that you can do. And then we got a little bit here with the settings. A couple of things there. Earbud seal test. You can see how good it's fitting in your ear. This is the shortcut. Same place, just a different place, but the same thing. Just have things that you could, when you press and hold either of the earbuds, these are the options that you have. Immersive audio, same thing, just a different place to do it. An equalizer, same thing, there's no secret stuff here. Self voice, again, you can modify that. And the voice prompts, you can have these on or off. Again, the one thing that was cool on the Bose, which I kind of liked actually, but when you first put it in your ear, it says it's connected, to which device it's connected to, and it'll tell you the name of it, and then also it tells you the battery percentage of the buds, which is, again, I kind of thought that was a neat thing, but you could turn that off if you don't like that. And that's it. So not too much there. Now, the JBL has the most advanced app. It has the most features on here by far. Try to name a feature that the JBL doesn't have. I mean, it does everything. And again, the other great thing is, like I told you before, you got the little eye here. So if you just click on that, that will tell you what the feature actually does. Very easy to do. You don't have to look it up or do a Google search. It's all right there. I'm just going to go through the app and cover anything else I might have missed. You got the silicone tips. If you're going to use the memory foam, you just got to change it over to this. You got the ambient control sound and the ambient aware sound controls right here. You got the case settings here. You could check your fit if you want. This is the smart talk that we went over. You got the personal sound amplification that you could turn on if you want. I have this disabled, but you could just move it a little bit to the left and right. You could adjust the gain, and that might make it a little easier to hear. Let's keep going here. So smart automation. So basically the music just pauses if you're picking up a phone call, which makes sense. These are the gestures that we went over. We got the voice prompts. You can turn them off if you don't want to hear about them, and then obviously change the language. And then silent now. Let me show you that. So this is a kind of, again, just an extra feature that JBL throws in there. So basically you can have the buds on and it will disconnect from Bluetooth. So basically you won't be getting any notifications, which is really nice. So if you just want some quiet time, you got the times that you can pick here. You could also schedule it if you want. And then you could have an alarm ringing when the time is up. So if you want to take a nap or you just kind of want to meditate, whatever you want to do, this will turn on the noise cancellation. And also, like I said, it will disconnect the Bluetooth. So you won't be getting any notifications, which is, again, something that some people might be interested in. And that's all for this portion. But now we got to go into, and then again, this is the battery levels that you have here. But let's go into audio. This is where you can get better sounding audio if you're listening to a source that actually is offering it. This is my EQs, my adaptive EQ, the spatial sound settings. You can personalize the sound to kind of just adjust it to your liking, basically. And you can change the balance here, the max volume limiter. These are some call settings that we went over. And then the private call mode, which is actually kind of cool. Then we go into other. There's still more stuff. So this is just an extra feature JBL gives you, just relax mode. So let's click on it. And this is what it does. So you can combine these and play some just white noise, basically. So that's kind of cool. Now, we also have Find My Buds. And obviously it tells you to take them out of your ear, and then you could find each one individually. There's a little light on there, and it also does have a speaker, obviously. And then we got the power saving. You could adjust these if you want, and that's about it. Now, the other thing, I don't think I went over, but if we go back into General and then go into Smart Case, you have Find My Case, which is really cool. You know, the other two don't have this feature. So if you have your phone, then you could find your case. And then if your buds are in a different place, then you could also find those too, you know, if you're really disheveled. But kind of a cool thing that you can find your case and your buds. Really neat feature on there. So we're back in the Samsung app, and I think I might have misspoke before when I told you don't get the case battery percentage. Yeah, you just have to open it. I forgot about that. As apps go, you know, again, the Bose app was very basic and not much customization that you can do. The JBL had all sorts of customization, and I thought it was fairly easy to use, but there was just so many settings, it might be a little overwhelming. I just wanted to show you the Samsung strikes a pretty good balance between feature-rich and customization, but not being overwhelming. Because this is actually very easy. Right on the top here, you got the ambient and active noise cancellation, probably the two of the most important things that people are interested in. You got the sound quality and effects right here. You know, you got the equalizer, very easy to adjust and go through these. You could boost the dialogue like we talked about, and that's basically it for here. You do have a fit test, and then also you could increase your quality of the audio playback if, again, you have a source that has that. Then you got the controls here. The controls are pretty adjustable, and of course you could toggle them all off, which is nice. Let me go into the settings again, and we have the voice controls. You got the in-ear detection. You could have your text read out loud, which is kind of cool. The seamless earbud connection, that's just for the multipoint to go back and forth between your different devices. You do get a neck stretch reminder that no one else has, so if you're hunched over a lot, it will remind you to straighten up, mind your posture a little bit. You do have a gaming mode on here. I didn't have any issues with latency on any of these buds, but if you do have an issue, at least the Samsung does give you that you can do. So the accessibility here, you could adjust these. You could also set it that your touch controls will work with just one earbud. Then we got the Find My Buds. And again, that's pretty much it. So the app is pretty straightforward, but there are a lot of things that you can do. A couple more things to finish up with. So this is the Bose Quiet Comfort here. The big unique things about it is the wing design, which I really like. It makes a very sturdy fit on these. You also do have the sliding volume control, which is really convenient, and that will work with just one bud in. You know, you can move the volume up or down, which is nice. The multi-point function was added after launch, so if a lot of people, if you see a lot of reviews on this, and people are complaining about not having multi-point connections, that was added with the software, so that works just fine. The EQ settings on here are a little limited. The touch controls, again, the adjustments on that are very limited, and you also can't turn them off if you wanted to do that. There is no ambient mode on this. Basically, the adjustment for ambient mode is just to reduce the active noise cancellation, and that's not the same thing. And also, you can't fully turn off the active noise cancellation, which is, again, just a little bit of a limitation. There also is no conversation mode on this, which, you know, some people might miss. And a big one is the case does not offer wireless charging. Okay, what about the JBLs? Well, if you guessed with this video, this is actually my favorite because I just love all the customizations and menus and all the options that you have on this thing. Now, you do have, again, a screen on the case, which is really cool. I don't think it's a gimmick. I think it's actually very useful. And if you don't like it, well, I don't think you're losing much. It's, you know, it's in the same price range as the other ones, and the case is about the same size as the other ones. A little bulkier, but otherwise, really, you're not losing anything with it. And you can set the screen that you have to use this button to turn it on, which is very hard to turn it on by accident. You do get the Aurocast, so basically this is an audio transmitter built into the case. Again, that is an awesome feature on this. You do have a lot of extra customizations that are available on these buds that are not available on the other ones. You could also use the earpiece as an extra mic, so you could have private conversations if that ever comes up. You also do get memory foam tips. It is the only buds here that does offer that option. And you also do get the 4 different silicone sizes. Let's get to the Samsung Buds3 Pro here. Now, the one thing I don't like is that the buds really didn't fit me that well. You know, they fit well enough that I could use them, but if I used the touch controls, it would knock them out very easily, so I didn't like that at all. So I usually just use the voice controls on this, which actually work very well, so I had no issues with that. You do get the slide controls on the arm. Again, I couldn't, but you know, it's a cool feature that it's there. I do like that feature. There is also a feature on here that you could adapt the sound to make the music sound better for your age. So you just put in your age and it will boost the frequencies that it thinks it needs to. The notifications can be read to you, which is kind of cool. And the app, like I was talking about before, is very straightforward, but you do get a lot of features on it. You get more features than expected. So I didn't mention this, but you also do get live translate on this. So if someone speaks in another language, it will automatically translate it into your language if these are in your ears, which is really cool. And you could also get that to show up on your phone screen, which is, again, just an extra feature that Samsung offers. This also has the smallest case on here, so it's the best for traveling, I think. And you do lose a couple of features if you don't have a Samsung phone, but otherwise, most of the features do work. So all three of these buds sound very good, and the features are great on them. It's just that there is some extra features on some of them, and there's some extra customizations on some of them that may not be on the other one. So that's what I just kind of wanted to point out to everybody. If you like this video, please consider subscribing. I probably should have said that a little earlier, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.